So in this finding the edge, so you know what to push, how hard to push, how far over the edge, where you get your boundary lessons to continue to push. What most people are in fact doing is pushing on the edge of above averageness. They are doing a plus minus effort based on a series of equations that they run that manages their risk, manages their loss equations, help them retain things, whether it's their ego, whether it's actual capital assets, because whether these edge issues, these boundary issues are in money or in love or pushing the boundaries of our health, pushing above averageness can feel good because you're above average, but it is not greatness. It is not potentiality. Some people can say, well, it's more realistic. We'll do realistic sometimes, but what the inevitable you really likes to do is unrealistic because we want more. And then when we get to do this as leaders and inspire and illuminate and evolve those around us, that's when we really begin to fly. Greatness is about pushing boundaries. And if you didn't do the homework, how is your boundaries going to get pushed? If you didn't do the homework, will you do it? And do you know why you aren't doing it if you didn't? Don't make this about time. You had time to be on the call tonight. We're very excited that you're here. Make this about power and potentiality and your greatness. Again, so many clients that I have believe they're pushing greatness, but they're seriously pushing this above averageness. Now, why is that so hard for so many people? Because even again in the above average world, being above average in the above average puts you near the top, and that feels so good. Well, they do them because these equations of what they can and can't do, what risk they're willing to take and can't take. They have a history. They're very smart about their history. They've drawn great conclusions about their history. And history has shown them what greatness they can have. And unfortunately, it's also shown them the greatness that they cannot have. So they will operate within these parameters and move forward in this above average fashion. And to risk more than that without reason, it just isn't going to happen. And that's what we're trying so hard in this call and in this month to break into this mental process. Are you in that trap? How do you break free of it? And really understanding that to live in greatness is far easier, and we're going to do a great tool for that. You can see it over there on my menu bar. It's called the Mach 1 tool. That's going to be the feature tool for tonight as we continue to evolve greatness. Now, first question I have for you to ponder, is it an operating system feature? Again, for those of you that are new, in essence, what we talk about here is that the mind is the software and the brain, this little 2-3 pound sack of fat and water, is the hard drive. And on the hard drive is an operating system. Just like sitting on your computer perhaps is Windows 10. And it runs everything. Is greatness, do you think, in your mind, an operating system feature? Or is it an application feature? So, for example, you can run, financial software. You might run some great health software, and that will decide what events you pick, how hard you're going to push your workouts, what you do when you're injured. You have health software that you believe in. Is greatness in this? There's even love software. So whether this is coming out of some matchmaking, whether this is an application to your relationship, you might have your significant other, you may be married long time, whatever. Do you think that greatness is an application piece, or is it really, really both? So as we evolve this question, and here's what I want you to think about, in the performance continuum, I'm going to call it. There's good people, and they're out there and they're doing good things, and we talked about this last week. Is good enough, and why do we have to be great? Well, there's a pretty good body of good out there, and they're good people. We love them. We worry about them, we inspire them, we push them, we heal them, we take care of them as great leaders. They're good. Now, as you move up the continuum, you have some people that are good in all things, and then they're above average in a few. This might be they're above average at work. You might be on this call and feel this, that I'm above average at work, or maybe I'm okay at work, but my health is above average. I work out. I'm ahead of my age group. You keep moving up the continuum. Now you've got people that are good to above average in all things that they do. They do it in love. They do it in their religious faith. They do it as parents. They're really focused. They have higher standards. They tend to have a higher drive. They have a less capacity to settle for okay. They want more. They drive harder. As we continue up the spectrum, we have people that are good to above average in all things, and really above average in just a few special things. Again, it's going to have the same flavor as these guys and gals. They're just going to be higher up the food chain. Good to above average, and then they are really superb. Absolutely the best at something. Could be work, could be an application at work. They're the resident expert. People come to them. Could be leadership. They may just be a really great manager, run a great team, great leader. We're starting to get thinner and thinner. There's the percentage of people that do this is getting smaller and smaller. Now we're at they're excellent in all things, superb in one or more key areas, all the way up to now we have the women and the men, the teams, the relationships that are great. Now is greatness an area, do you think? It's an area that you focus on? Or is greatness something that occurs in all areas? Just another way to ask, is it operating system or is it application? What differentiates greatness? Now, this is where your homework is going to lie tonight. I'll send you a couple, 3 questions to journal on and think about, because you have a point of view. And remember, this is the inevitable you, because it's not about me. It's not about what I believe. I'm here to poke your boundaries, ask you great questions, teach you design tools. What's your point of view on this? What differentiates these things? Who do you believe you are? Where do you fit on these? And do you think it happens because, you or they, greatness, they're just so talented? That's how you get to be great. You have a lot of talent. Or is it because they set it as a target to achieve? And again, this is going to be your second homework question, or something you can ask me tonight. Is it a target that you set? Do you set great as something that you want, or by running the software, does greatness happen? And so really the target is the software. And if I gave you 35 points to spread out over the continuum, and it's 35 points because 65 points are spread out below this ranking. They're the, average, below average, good people. That's why these 35 points feel so good. Where would you rank the points? Where would you rank you? It's very important that you understand this, because in many respects, this is where the journey begins. Because not only do you need to know where the journey is taking you, you have to have a good sense of where you're starting. You have to set greatness as your standard. It's a destination you have to reach. And certainly in those things that are crucial, again, we use standards here, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's happiness and joy and ecstasy, whether it's parenting. Wherever greatness in those areas, you've got to set greatness as a standard. And why wouldn't you when you come to the fork in that road? And there's a fork in the road tonight. Love Yogi Berra, great homespun wisdom. But it's said even more succinctly here. One day, Alice came to the fork and saw the Cheshire Cat. Which road do I take? The Cheshire Cat replied, where do you want to go? And she said, I don't know. And the cat said, it doesn't really matter then, does it? You have to know, is greatness a road that you wish to take? Is it tonight? Is it for 2017? Is it for down the road? From last week's epic toolbox, and again, you want to catch the video, we did the greatest trapeze. Let me do the Mach 1 tool for you today. And again, just so there you see it, there's the toolbox, got a lot of cool things in it. Let's talk about the Mach 1 tool. It always begins with a test pilot, Chuck Yeager, in the year of 1947. And what's awesome, if you've never heard me talk about it, I absolutely believe we live in a magical time. You can find anything on YouTube. You can absolutely today YouTube both the cockpit recordings that I'm going to talk about, and you can YouTube what's going on the ground. Now, back then, what Chuck Yeager was trying to do was fly the XM-1, this plane, to break the sound barrier. And there was scientists that were absolutely committed, can't be done, because the closer you got to the sound barrier, the more the plane would just rattle and roll. It was almost coming apart at the seams. They had run scientific equations, much like in a handful of years in 1955-56, there were scientists saying it was physically impossible to break the 4-minute mile. They went through scientific equations that said it could not be done. Now, I want to bookmark this for a moment and talk about, living life at a 10. Now, this would be in our metaphors and in our software. If we could figure out how to do everything at a 10, this would produce a life of greatness. And living at a 10, the real question would be, how high could you go? How far could you go? But the problem for many, many people is, when you're living at a 7 and you go to live at an 8, this is really hard. It gets a lot harder, and then maybe you'll take a year or two to feel like you've done it. You've got some training, you've got some education, you've got some life experiences, you've fallen and gotten up. Maybe you got some coaching along the way. Now you want to go to an 8.5, and compared to how hard this was, this gets even harder. take it to a 9. Oh my God, you are like that mythical plane. Your life is rattling and rolling and shaking. It is so hard that most people said, at an 8 it's hard. I can't see my way to a 9. How the heck is it going to be a 10? How can I live at 10? And now going back to the tool, I want you to understand something about what this looks like. When you're doing Mach 0.7, meaning you're 7/10 of the way there, what that means is you're in 70% of the sonic energy and 30% of it's faster. So you're not experiencing that. When you go up to 8, it's 80%, 9, 90%, only 10%. At Mach 0.99, you are rattling and rolling so bad because you are in virtually 100% of the sonic energy. And then something awesome happens. And it happens in the XM1. There's the sonic boom. Bam! You now have 100% of the energy behind you. Now you'll see people on the ground, they're like, oh my God, the plane blew up! He died! And there's the XM1 still streaking across the sky. Now when you hit this Mach 1, what happens in the cockpit? And it's because 100% of the sonic energy is behind you, it gets calm, it gets quiet, everything slows down. And ponder this, because here's the secret to living as a great man or a great woman. You have to travel faster than the speed of the bullshit that's causing your rattling and rolling and shaking. Now, you can say, hey, Bill, my bullshit is real. I've been through a Chapter 7. I'm fighting a divorce. I'm a single parent. I get that the sonic energy is real, but you've got to get faster to it. You have to know, if I can instantly accelerate to a 10, and what would that look like? Because 7 is hard, 8 is harder, 9 you can't do it, but 10, and this is in your DNA because you knew how to do this when you were a child. You lived at a 10. You laughed at a 10. You cried at a 10. You were apathetic at a 10. That's you laying in a beanbag chair watching TV. And your mom or dad goes, hey, little Billy, what, huh? Because I'm zoned at a 10. You sleep at a 10. That's why children are bent over, folded in half in the car seat, and you can pick their arm up and flop their arm. They don't wake up because they're sleeping in a 10. Because everything they do, they think, they feel, they focus, they want what they want at a 10. And that's why they drive us crazy. This toy is so awesome. Then they hate that toy. Now, a lot of times when I'm using this mythical, metaphorical 4-year-old, I'm not asking you to go back or pretending that you drop your wisdom, you drop your life experience, you keep that, but remember the DNA that you have. Remember the emotional DNA that you have to want at a 10 what you want. So when you put life in this frame, when you push boundaries in this frame at a 10, and you want the love that you want, or you want the relationship moments, or you want work to be what you want, or you want your health to be what you want, or you want money to be what you want, and you do it at a 10 all out. Again, I'm not, totally every sports metaphor is perfect, but a lot of them are. I played college football. I wrestled in college. I got letters in both sports. Division I school. When you ponder you're doing wind sprints. How many of you, one, marshal your energy so that even when the coach doesn't say we've got 5 wind sprints or 10 speed drills, we just blows the whistle and you go, you're marshaling it, but more importantly, you're only running faster than the person next to you. That's your real competitive mark. And if you can, blow wind, you'll even make it look sometimes harder than it is. So the coach will see that you're really trying. But real great champions, man, they leave it all on the field. And when you do this as a natural extension, it's not like you're going to go out tomorrow, and you're going to run at a 10. You're going to be exhausted in a very short order. This is a learning experience, whether you're doing it at work. What does it mean to do your emails, finish your inbox, turn in this report, document this process, coordinate with every person that you're supposed to, go the extra mile, leave nothing. Live at a 10, faster than the reasons why you say that you can't. That's absolutely going to make a massive, massive difference in how this shows up, how this happens for you, and what next takes place for you.